All right. So, Ashton, you saw a little film called Carter. I only saw a poster of this, and honestly, I had no clue what it was about. I just kind of pick up on the fact that it's an action film. That's all I know. And it was released on Netflix. That's all I really know, right? So, yeah. So, as someone who has no idea of what this show is about, and for people who probably do know what the show is about and just probably want to hear one's opinion in it. Yeah, Ashton, take it away. What is Carter about, and how was it?
All right, so yeah, Carter from Netflix, their new offering. Um, I think that's my knowledge. It is a Korean movie, so filmed in primarily South Korea, right? So movie starts off with this character named Carter in a bed, and then these agents burst through the door, right? And it's a weird situation. I mean, everything's just happening so fast, right? And then they show him a message that he sent, a video that he had this doctor, all kind of madness is going on, right? So I'm watching this movie and I'm thinking to myself, what are they trying to tell me? What was the story here in this movie, right? So we just start, and I swear to you, within 5 minutes of this movie, somebody had get blown up with a device, right, in the middle of everybody, and a fight happens with about 100 men. One man versus 100 men, and the one man didn't even get stabbed once, right?
Wait, you
Now I
serious?
yeah
In a world where we had movies like The Raid and The Raid 2, especially The Raid 2, you telling me there's still a director, action director, I assume, decide to have a fight scene where a man facing off 100 and the man who is fighting the 100 and even get touched?
yeah exactly right. And yo, that's the kind of vibes the movie was giving me now. It was giving me Indonesian vibes now. I was like, yo, is this an Indonesian movie? I was like, if this is an Indonesian movie, it's okay, right? But I'm seeing that it's not an Indonesian movie. It is actually a Korean movie, and a man, real respect Korean film and cinema and TV, right? I put all of them together because I don't know what people want to break up different things into now. So, but I appreciate it, right? Because it's very well done. And this to me seemed like it was just made for, I don't know. I think they're trying to make this for a Western audience without understanding a Western audience really. You know what I mean?
Okay, so is it one of those kind of lost in translation kind of things, like only it's only made for a South Korean audience, but it's trying to cater to a Western audience at the same time?
It has to. That could be the only thing to make sense, right? Because, bro, I'm telling you, this movie starts off with this guy who kidnaps this doctor guy, and then they're trying to find back the doctor guy, but then he has to go get his daughter from this place. Then the guy has to go, Carter has to go and get this doctor's daughter from this facility. Then he has to transport her because she is the cure to the virus that turning people into a kind of zombified version of themselves. You know? Like,
Wait, say what?
yeah, exactly,
I,
exactly.
I I thought it's a straight action film, not no sci-fi thing in it.
No.
What?
Yeah, and then the virus is spreading in the DMZ, right? And North Korea and South Korea have this guy as an agent, and he is
You,
he
you, you
is
you know I signed the whole double agent shtick. That's what I signed.
no, but it's because North Korea and South Korea working together in this movie,
Okay.
right?
That's interesting. Mm.
And they're working against the CIA, and then maybe he was a CIA agent, but maybe he's a spy for the Koreans, or maybe he was a Korean agent, but he was a spy for the CIA. That kind of going on throughout the movie as well, right? Who is he really a spy for? And I don't know, man. I find the movie try to do too much, and then I would, and there's some, it's just some unbelievable, like, okay, as you mentioned, Raid 1 and Raid 2, right? Those movies I find was good
Yeah.
because they be real. The man get all the licks he had to get to, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
he barely survived, right?
Look at
And
the end of Raid 2, yo. Look at the end of that
yeah,
movie. Yeah, you know?
yeah, exactly, right? But this one, nah, boy, like, and I mean, the fight scene where he was fighting those hundreds of men, the whole situation that was going on in that room and the whole vibe is like, yo, nah, this is so unbelievable. Like, I know, you know what this movie is like? This movie is like Crank and
Yeah, I
John
remember
Wick,
Crank. I remember Crank, yeah.
right? Crank and John Wick mixed, but like bad.
Okay.
Right? But Crank,
I
yeah,
get the vibe that it's trying to, it's doing like a bunch of like old action tropes. When I mean old, I mean like 2000s action tropes, but just in a 2020s kind of context, but not in a good way.
yeah. And then again, something I've realized with Netflix these days, Netflix can't resist slapping typography all over the screen, boy. Like Hong Kong,
Dog.
Macau, South
This was
Korea.
one of my criticisms with the Green Mantra. Like literally, it was just globe trotting. Sorry, everywhere they had to go is boom, big thing.
Yeah,
Hong Kong,
yeah,
as you
like
see, or Macau, or Bangkok, whatever. Same thing with the Green Man. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I find like it kind of again that getting tired, right? And then next thing they were doing is like these stylized shots now. So like
Uh huh.
these crazy dumb shots, like some of them don't make any sense. They don't help the action. In fact, they blur the action more than anything. They can't see what's really going on too good. Just to make any sense. I was like, "Well, what is the point of this? What is the point of okay, so imagine, if you will, you're a learned guy, right?
Mm,
So you know those in Japan, right? There are those like red kind of gateways or
mm,
walkways, but there's like multiple.
right.
So now imagine that kind of vibe over like a jacuzzi, right? But very thin and just over the jacuzzi, but the same kind of thing, right?
Mm,
So the shot rotates from a top-down view from them fighting to around to over the kind of lattice looking ship and then comes back around. I was like, but they block out all the action. I ain't see nothing. This is madness. You know,
but it's supposed to look cool and stylized. That's the point.
yeah, well,
No,
it was
sorry. The
make
more you describe this, the more it sounds like been there, seen that. Yeah.
boy, that was
From
making me
Netflix,
feel
huh?
like motion sickness, boy. I was like, yo,
Mm.
this is, I was like, I'm glad it's not a person that have motion sickness because I'll vomit all over the place. This is terrible now. And real jerky camera movements. And you could see like they're trying to accomplish like, let's do this scene in one take.
Oh, okay, okay.
Or
They're
we're
doing
gonna
that.
do this one scene in a continuous shot. And but then you're gonna go and do that. And you know what else this movie reminds me of? Hardcore Henry.
Oh, which is one of my like, favorite guilty pleasure movies. At least that
Right.
show know what it was about, right? Yeah.
Right. So like you see like he would like how Hardcore Henry was like a FPS basically, right?
Yes, yes.
Right.
That's the point. Hmm.
But this guy would roll up in a room and shoot somebody like how Hardcore Henry would shoot them. Like the acting was so bad. Acting was so bad.
Even by South Korean film standards, they're bad.
This is nah, come on. There's some epic Korean movies. And like this is probably just like the Van Damme Universal Soldier 6 type, of production level, but Netflix have it. That
Wow.
like storyline. That's how I feel about it, right?
Mm,
And things like this, man, like okay, you throw out a stun gas, a gas grenade or whatever, right? To stun people. Dog, the gas ain't even out of the container as yet and meant on falling down. You know what I mean? Like that shit. That's garbage. What are you doing? That doesn't make any sense. So I mean
that is
like
sloppy.
I have like the you ever watch those old school Jackie Chan movies?
Yes.
But the modern ones, right?
Yeah, like police story and thing. Yeah.
Okay. But like the ones that he shoot in Australia. But like
Oh, what was this one by Who Am I? That's the one needed in Australia.
right.
Yeah.
And like the white actors could act or whatever, but they dub them anyway.
Hmm.
Right. So this is how it was in this movie too. Like I felt like they were like that kind of cheesy dub, shitty vibe, and like
Yeah.
all the agents looking like they're Mr. Smith from the Matrix. And boy, when these men falling down in the room when this guy's rescuing the daughter of the doctor, I was like, what? Why is all of this necessary? Why any of this necessary? Anyway, guys, Netflix is our subscription you pay for. And I'll be
Facts.
honest with you all, it is not getting any better. In fact, I would say it's a waste of money, to be honest. Netflix is a waste of money. You only need Netflix once for the year. December, when everything release, get in December and binge watch everything you want to binge watch. Plus, you'll have the Christmas movie specials, right? Because
Well, that's facts again. Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, this is rubbish, right? These kind of movies and all the cancellations they make on Netflix and all the shows that they're not continuing, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And in fact, it's just at this point, entertainment wise, I feel like the only reason we are having something called superhero burnout is because they've done so much so badly, and they keep trying to force it down your throat now. Like you don't have to drop us just because Marvel does something. DC doesn't have to do something, a movie. Because I'll tell you what, Marvel animation is real shit, but DC animation is amazing.
Of course. Like I
Right?
can't even remember off the top of my head, a new worthwhile Marvel animated show.
The last one I could think about is Punisher Black Widow. That was it.
All
And
right.
that was kind of shit too.
Right.
But as I say, this is not good enough, and this don't justify me paying for a subscription. Like, this is the kind of
Yeah.
thing I cancel subscriptions for. It's like, yo,
Yeah, but
you know how Extraction was a hit.
Mhm.
This was supposed to be like the South Korean Extraction. Like it was just
Oh, okay.
supposed to this was come out there and be a hit. But this
Yeah.
was a real miss, boy. But you know who gonna like this? People that like mindless action start to end and they don't really care about storyline because the movie's just there to entertain them. They
That's
were
what I was
like,
about to say, because like I just picture everything from what you say. I just picture at least the action look kind of decent enough that you could just shut your brain off and watch it.
yeah. Like so I mean like every audience for a movie, boy, everybody gonna like something. But for me, and if you think from here and how I've described this movie that you think similar to me, you would not enjoy this movie. But if you don't think like me and you want to give this movie a shot, give it a shot. But personally, me, I rate this movie like a 3.5 out of 10. It was that bad. I was like, ugh.
Wow, boy. that that
Yeah.
that that sucks too. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do.
Now everything is a hit, boy. Something had to be a shit.
I'm telling you. All right, so let's talk about Bullet Train, right?
Oh.
Yeah. Ricardo, you saw this?
Yeah, I did
Right.
see this. I saw this. I saw
Ashton,
this pretty early in the week. I saw this Wednesday, I think. So
Okay.
No, I haven't had a chance to see it as yet.
right.
All right, all right. That's what I know, right? I wouldn't say that this is one of the most one of my highly anticipated films of this year, though. But the moment when I saw the trailer, I was like, "This is my kind of shit," right?
The
And
only
essentially,
reason,
what it is. Go on.
yeah, the only reason I cared about this is because it have is a couple people from Atlanta in it.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Well, one of which I knew was gonna be in this, right? That's Brian Tyree Henry, right, aka Paperboy, right?
Right.
But a certain somebody else show up, which you'll get to, and I was like, wait, you in this too? What? But anyway, right? So yeah, so just to get this out of the way, right? I actually a fan, so to speak, of like these stylized crime/gangster films, right?
Yeah.
I just have a fondness for shows like that, right? Of course, for many people, it started with the great Pulp Fiction, right? But then from Quentin Tarantino. But then guys like Guy Ritchie came into the scene now, so he brought stuff out like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch, right? Still two of his greatest films, right? And that brought like a different dynamic to it. It was still stylized or whatnot, but it was more the Cockney British gangster blue color kind of vibe basically to it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was like a different vibe to it, right? And then from the 2000s, of course. I mean in the 90s, I mean there were big copycat films of Pulp Fiction, right? But when Snatch and Lock, Stock dropped, I mean there were numerous copycat films, what I mean, of that style of gangster filmmaking, right? Um, Perfect example being, I'll use this as a reference to this movie here, Smoking Aces. This
Right.
film really does feel like Smoking Aces in a sense
Right.
where you
Yeah.
have these colorful, hitmen and assassins and killers, and for some reason they all come into this one place to do everybody had to do this one job or a similar job, and it's just a matter of who's gonna find out who's gonna find out who, and who's gonna get involved with
Right.
what, and who basically gonna survive
And
in the end.
it had a
right?
little Edgar Wright in there for me as well.
Yeah. I see what you mean in terms of like these sort of meta shots, if you will, and always
Yeah.
kind of cutting back to 2 years ago or 3 years
Yeah,
ago and stuff
yeah.
like that, right? They,
Mhm.
they do that a considerable amount of time in this, right? But yeah, but the sell for me for this is not so much Brad Pitt, because yeah, he's just have it, but also one, we in Japan, and two, it's a bullet train, so all this stuff is going to take place in a train, right?
Right.
So it's kind of like a Murder on the Orient Express,
A little bit,
but
right.
kind of,
Yeah.
but it's just really a bunch
Little-
of killers just come
A little bit
into
of a bottle film, kinda.
right, yeah, kinda,
right,
yeah.
right.
But it's just really all these killers and everybody have like this hyper stylized, superfluous backstory basically,
Right.
and it's just a matter of just kind of figure out, okay, why are these guys here? What's the point? And yeah, who gonna survive this, right? So yeah, Ricardo, take it away. What is Bullet Train about, and what were your thoughts on it?
All right, so it's about an assassin. His original code name was Ladybug. He had a comeback. He comes back where he have, he just hyped himself up to, sort out something involving a bullet train from, I think, Tokyo to Kyoto. And basically, he had a normal contact that leave, but then he had to deal with a new handler. I think Maria Beetle, if I remember correctly. So his whole contact out. So what happened is that he had to deal with the new handler in this situation, and then he also have apparently 3 other killers on board who had to sort it out. And I think with this boy, the villain is is Michael Shannon, played the White Death. Then yeah, so basically is this crime syndicate. He had a chase down, and he basically had to look out for the White Death's son that is at this situation, and involving a ransom, and they have to sort out that, and then multiple figures have to come into the situation to sort out that, and so on and so forth. That's where it starts, and that's the running premise from there. Money, $10 million, that's a lot. Go. People who very good at killing other people, go. That's what's going on here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It starts from there, then spirals out. You want to start? Because to be fair, I was a little underwhelmed by this. I liked it. There's a lot of, for lack of a better term, it's style over substance. But that's the thing. I really felt it could have done more and punch up the script a little more. And I really wanted more character stuff, to be honest. Like, it was just a little too sparse. Like, it have a lot going on, but we don't see that a lot going on. It's one of those.
Right.
And again, it's a battle film, so it's fine. But you still need it. Like, so I came in on a conversation. You guys mentioned the raid. The reason why the first raid was so brilliant is because you really get a sense of a lot of stuff going on, even though it's a battle situation.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
At least the first one, right? This have the same spacing. Like, it's like this tight spacing and all these external forces coming onto this one situation. But I felt this was a lot weaker, like in terms of like figuring out what's going on and why. And then when everything was all revealed, I was like, all right, well, that was not interesting. It was cool. It had a lot of fun. Fight was okay. I don't know what they're trying to, like, why they're trying to market Brad Pitt as this. Like, Brad Pitt rebranded himself for some reason. Like, why he trying to be action star all of a sudden in this way. Yeah, this kind of goofy act. And this is like he trying to be funny too, because like he was in Deadpool and had one kind of funny bit.
Yeah. I forgot about
yeah,
that.
it was like a kind of funny bit, not really. It was kind of funny. But that is about it. Like he tried to pivot and run into that. I'm not sure what's going on here. But that is about it. Like I don't know. I'll just say Brad Pitt is a little miscast for this, to be honest. Like, I just couldn't buy Brad Pitt in this role. He wasn't really holding me. He wasn't all that funny in this. And I suppose that's the big conceit, like, it's supposed to do a lot of humor. Or at least the marketing, like, sell it for that now. But this was like, all right, well, I thought you could have been, because, you know, you're expecting it, because that's how it feel like. It feel like funny John Wick. No? That's what it feel like, a little bit. Like, it's funny John Wick. There's a bunch of assassins, but they're making it funnier and more humorous and sillier premise. That's about it. Like, I couldn't really work myself into it. So that's about how I feel about it in that, you know, initial feeling. I saw it Wednesday, so my brain kind of fog over. Because it was really kind of forgettable, to be honest, to be fair.
No, I understand. Yeah,
it is cool. It's a cool premise. I always thought this was a remake of the old. I think it's a movie in the 70s called The Bullet Train. It's not. Not
no,
sure.
no.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but like so I was thinking that. I went back and watched back that movie. It's like, no, it's not. But that's about it. It's just, I don't know. Is Tarantino? They probably could have got a better director for this, maybe too. I'm not sure. I don't know, but it just kind of fall flat for me. It's good. It's fine.
Right, but it just didn't stand out to you. I understand.
Yeah.
Right?
So the only thing that had me cracking up is just the you know, when you see some face and you see who's who, like as a guest, basically like a cameo, effectively. So
yes,
like I didn't know
yes.
I didn't know Michael Chandler was this. Like
I didn't know neither. Like the
Right,
moment I saw his face, like, oh shit.
Yeah, I didn't know Sandra Bullock was in this either. Like, okay, all right, see, like it take me a while to pick up is that person, but like, all right, that's about it. Like the only thing that had me going, but I felt the casting they could have make work a little bit better. I personally, the problem is Brad Pitt, to be honest. Like he just didn't hold the film for me. Like I think he's a good actor, great action star. Just didn't fit in this really particularly well. They could have done more. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. So, whatever.
Right. I'll take it away. Right. So, you know, just to follow up on what you said, you thought it was based off of a remake of an old film from the 70s, right? It's actually based off of a Japanese novel of the same name. I didn't even know that till like a few days ago, right? And I actually watched this movie yesterday time I was recording
when did that
this.
book come out?
I believe it was in the like last decade, I believe.
Okay,
like quite recently, if you will, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I should actually seek it out though, because I actually do think for the most part that this film stays faithful to the source material, but you know it's American action film as well too, well, primarily action. American, but you know American Japanese production, if you will, right? And it's handled by David Leitch, who, you know, he has, well, his first film being John Wick, and of course he directed Atomic Blonde, which was pretty decent for the most part, right?
Right.
And I would say, you know, well, for me, right, I actually enjoyed this, right? But for me, what I was worried about is that it was going to be too much style over substance, right? So just to get this out of the way, no, this is not a substance heavy movie. Nor did I expect it to be, right? I do appreciate the effort, right? Or I should say the amount of time, even though there's not a lot given to these various individuals that show up, right? With the exception of a particular person who I'll get into it a bit, right? But that's more of a reveal, like, oh shit, is this person? All right, like that, right? But I do appreciate that, okay, we kind of get some backstory into who these characters are, why they're on the train in the first place, why they after this briefcase with the money, who's the white debt, why white debt is a big deal and all that kind of stuff, right? I thought that the acting for the most part was pretty decent. Like I do love the chemistry between Tyree Henry and Aaron Tyler Johnson, right? They play Lemon and Tangerine respectively, right?
Yeah.
And that is the typical, you know, oh gosh, it's the whole Pulp Fiction shtick, you know. You have these two hitmen, and you know they always bounce off each other, and they have to work together, and they won't hesitate to bust shots in a man's head, right?
They held the movie together to me, and I was like, yeah, you could have, like, I felt Brad Pitt felt superfluous, if anything. Like,
I'll talk about Brad Pitt in a bit.
If it was the three of them, like, there's the three, well, the third assassin, who's the big surprise. If it was like they were the stars, the story could have worked better. I don't know. There's something about it that just feel bloated and weird. Like, it just didn't flow as well as it could have. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know, to be honest, I think that Lemon and Tangerine need a spin-off movie.
Right.
And especially like where their relationship ends, right? I'm not gonna say what the relationship is about, but where it ends pretty much. Yeah, there's like, yeah, let me just see more of them though. Like, let's just see how they met up and they did jobs and whatnot. Because there's flashbacks about when they did a job here and all that kind of stuff, right? So it works, and just because of the chemistry that both Brian and Aaron brought to the table is greater. And by the way, Brian actually does a great, like, it's not Cockney accent, but he does a damn, like, believable British accent. I was shocked. Like, geez, but like, all right, paper boy, do your thing.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Also, someone who's playing British as well too. Joey King. I didn't even know that she was in this as well too. She plays the Prince.
Right.
Like in terms of like just her look, like she nails it, right? She is, she looks young, but she's actually this assassin, all that kind of stuff now. So it works well. I was a little on the fence of her role in the story, but when it's revealed what her real purpose is, like, okay, I get it. All right, I get it. How her story ends, so to speak, had me going. I thought that was great. Because, yeah, but without spoiling anything, she is a flat out psycho, but, you don't really see it that much, though. It's just like when you get deep in, like when you learn, when she actually gets like these one-on-one moments, that's when you really see how messed up she is. But you kind of understand why when you learn more about her in the show, right? To touch on Brad Pitt, I honestly think that he was just there to sell the film.
Yep.
But the way how this film is actually executed, it's not a Brad Pitt film. It's not about Brad Pitt. It is about these other characters. It's a multi-character film pretty much, right? But honestly, I think he is there to sell the film. They could have gotten any other Caucasian actor, sorry to speak, with charisma to play the role. But I thought for what he was, what his role was, it was good. It was good. He had presence. He made me laugh a few times. Other times, like, all right, I know you're playing dumb, but I mean, ain't you supposed to be like a badass? But I guess that's the point. And like throughout the story, he talk about how he had bad luck, and it leads to like all these shenanigans involved with him and all that with involving him and all that too, right? And they work. They entertaining. You have fun seeing him be a goofball, right? But at the same time, compared to these other guys, you're like, well, dude, like you kind of like outclassed. Like everybody else could pretty much kill you, and you just bumble your way out again, shot, right? Or stabbed. Case in point. And another sell for this movie was seeing Bad Bunny, being this as well too.
Right. Okay, that was him. Okay, yeah.
That's him.
Yeah, take my while to pick up who this was. Like, okay.
Yeah, and they have a pretty dope fight scene as well too. It's in the trailer as well too, right?
Yeah.
Both. Well, the two fight scenes involve, well, basically is one involving Brad and Bad Bunny. Next one is with Brad and Aaron. Yeah, those were in the trailer basically, right? But when you see them play out, yeah, they totally work, right? What I didn't expect though with Bad Bunny is that we actually get some backstory into him though, and here's where I lead into the style over substance, right? Because yes, I do get the approach of this show, right? This is pretty much gangster worship, right? It's like all these guys have like these really like badass backstories. Like, oh yeah, they're the toughest, roughest killers, and they were baptized in fire and this thing and that thing, right? I especially see that with Bad Bunny's character. Like, I did not expect. Basically, you get a montage involving why he becomes the wolf. That's his character, right? But like, I didn't see that coming a mile away. And at first, I was telling myself, all right, this gotta be some kind of self-indulgent kind of shit. Like, we just have to show just how badass they are, and that's pretty much the point. But no, it actually leads into what the main conceit of the story is and why everybody's on this train. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't see that. All right. And in his case, it involves revenge, right? Now, I sorry if you're a Bad Bunny fan, but he's like hardly in the movie, even though he has a really, really effective montage or whatnot. But when he is there, he owns it, though. I will say that much. He owns that performance, though. I'll give him that much, man. And then when it's actually revealed what really went on behind the scenes in the montage, as I will say, it makes for a great reveal, as I was saying. And it connects, in a sense, to White Death, right? Also, speaking of White Death, I didn't expect to see Michael Shannon in this. The moment I watched him off, he's like, oh shit, Michael Shannon? What?
Yeah,
and it was funny. It was funny to be seeing this. Because, yeah, he could get hammy when he ready, but like, I would say he pulled off the Russian accent pretty good, though. And he made for a good last boss, right? And speaking of last boss, my boy Hiroki Sanada, aka Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, he was there. I love his presence in the film, right? Like, it's the typical, I'm the Japanese samurai guy, and I was part of Yakuza. It's that, right? Again, it's gangster worship.
He pretty much played his character from Avengers Endgame.
You know, yeah. So again, it's gangster worship. So if you've seen one Yakuza film, you know what you're gonna get here. You're gonna get these guys with katanas, and you're getting the scene set in snow, and
Yeah.
it's that, right? But I was like, all right, this is the show. This is what they're going for. All right, let's roll with it, right? What I will give the show credit for is that it does not play too much into these tropes. It could have just easily been, all right, I'm a badass guy with a katana, and I'm a badass character with a knife, and a badass character with guns. But no, they give the characters enough backstory for you to be like, okay, this is the guy, this is the person, this is why I should kind of take note of this person. Not really care, but take note of that person, right? That being said, I know a lot of people will be kind of let down by the plot itself because it's not overly convoluted, but for what it is, it kind of is. But I didn't find myself too confused as to what was going on. It just kind of builds and builds and builds. And while the payoff isn't exactly as strong as all that do, it still works. Like it's still perfunctory in terms of what the story
problem, right?
is, you know?
Here's my problem. This is a book, Judd. Like somebody wrote up.
That's what they say. It's that's what I say. It's from a novel.
But
I feel they take a lot of creative liberties with this movie. Yeah? I don't think it's exactly how it was in the book. I think maybe the characters are the way they are. But I feel they changed a lot of stuff up for this movie.
I find for a premise that's supposed to be a book. That real underwhelming though. Like that's a book dog you write, Really?
Where's the thing? The funny thing I was thinking about this, I was like, is this a novel or a graphic novel? Because the way how the show itself is and executed and story-wise, this is like graphic novel kind of shit, no? But as a novel, I don't know, This feels too much like a graphic novel to me, boy.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. I feel I feel like probably was supposed to be, or maybe there is a graphic novel version of it somewhere. But it's a novel, like I say, right? But that being said, I mean, the actors do their thing. Everybody kind of owns their role. They get the time to shine, even if it's small roles like, say, Bad Bunny and even Miguel Zazie Beats. I did not see her coming in this. I'm not going to see who the character is, but the reveal is awesome. And what she does is awesome as well, too. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the train and all that, too. And it's even to the point that at some point, again, like I've never been to Tokyo, I've never been to a bullet train, so there will be fights and there'll be a character will get shot and whatnot, right? And you would think that somebody else somewhere close by or somebody working the train will at least be aware of what's going on. But it's like, no, it's that's not what they're going for. But it's not too unrealistic to the point like, there's explosions and whatnot, right? And nobody knows. At least when we get to the third act. But go on.
No, here's the thing. I find how it feel like it feel like something that because it's so centered on the conceit of the bullet train. It's like if it was the mid-90s when bullet trains was kind of an interesting idea for people. Like back then, maybe this would have worked.
I know, but it's the title, bro. It's the title. Get it? Bullet? That I know it's dumb.
I get that. My point is that it's a conceit now. Like, because it's on a train and it's a bullet train and that's a new idea. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Right? And lastly, a couple more things before I get to it, right? The third act is over the top. But it's my kind of over the top though. I will say, it is so.
I can't say it didn't have fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a blast with that third act though, and that's not to say that leading up to it was boring or terrible or anything like that. For one thing, this show will keep you entertained though for the most part. Even in the quiet moments. When I say quiet moments, I mean like dialogue moments, right? Because you do get a large amount of dialogue in this too. That's not to say you don't get action, but it's not like an action heavy movie. But when you do get action, it's
Tarantino dialogue where it's supposed to be more entertaining than informative and is more about character information stuff rather than actual information, which works halfway on this. It's still fine.
Yeah, and as you bring up Tarantino, and in terms of the Guy Ritchie-ness though, that's where you will see characters kind of appear like when they're being introduced in slow-mo and you hear like some grand music playing in the background and whatnot. Like nearly everybody gets their moments like that. Like for example, Brad Pitt gets to walk to BG Staying Alive, and that was a great call, by the way how they set it up. That was cool. I mean, it's in the trailer, the Japanese version of Staying Alive, but how it's set up visually, I thought that worked. And on the subject of that, before I forget, it's like a slight little detour here. You actually get some Japanese covers of classic songs, and I thought that totally worked too. but it worked, right? Cinematography, great. I mean,
Right.
direction-wise is great. The way how David, the director, handles action is great as well, right? But again, don't go into the show expecting tons and tons and tons of action, right? But yeah, the third act in particular, though, yeah, that is where everything just get ramped up to 11. I thought that absolutely works, and it didn't feel like it was out of place with what we got before. You know what I mean? It totally works. So it's so over the top, so loud, so in your face. But I was like, yeah, I was on board from the beginning to the end. So just that to that was like, yeah, that's how you have to end a movie like this. You know what I mean? That's how you have to end it, right? I would say for people who go in blind, again, this don't expect a lot of substance with this movie. This is not a substance heavy movie, right? But there is a lot of style here. But what I will say, you could disagree with me if you want to, Ricardo, but I will say that while it does feel hyper stylized, it's not too, you know, it's not too self-indulgent. I was worried about that going, and it was going to be too self-indulgent, or it was going to take itself too seriously. Like case in point, Smoking Aces. I really
Right.
wanted to enjoy that show, but I felt that show took itself way too seriously, in my opinion, right? But here, you do get your serious moments and your intense moments, but pretty much this is just action comedy. Like I what the audience I was with was cracking up at it. I was
Right.
laughing at points, like I was genuinely laughing at some points, and I was entertained and thrilled at other points as well too. I was concerned at other points too. Yeah, they just kept building the stakes up, and then when we get to that third act, it's just all bets are off, man. So for me, I enjoy the hell out of this though, but in a guilty pleasure kind of way. This is the kind of movie you have to kind of go in with two beers in and just have a blast watching this, right? But that being said, though, I know some people might find it, unnecessarily convoluted. I don't think so, but the twists and turns may feel convoluted, but believe me, it's not really anything too hard for you to comprehend. And where it all comes together may not be the most amazing thing ever, but yeah, at least the payoff though with that third act though is absolutely worth it, man. So for me, as a guilty pleasure, I'm giving this a lighter decent 4 out of 5, man. I had a fun time watching this in
Right.
theaters though. I will see that much. But again, it's that sort of style over substance movies, but not in a bad way. This is actually one of the more better versions of that, right? And that's the closings off. I know the whole gangster worship thing kind of still exists in today's action movies. So it's easy to watch a movie like this and think, yeah, this is like Tarantino, yeah, this Guy Ritchie, yeah, been there, seen that. You get a little bit of Garrett Evans as well too, you know what I mean, with the Reed stuff and whatnot near the end. The
Right.
guys with katanas, you get that stuff, right? But at least the
Well,
show.
which movie is that with the shot with going through the motorcycles? I always forget the name of that film.
Or the villainous, yeah. Is it
Right.
villainous? I think so.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
That
You
John
get a
Wick,
little bit.
John Wick 2 ripoff, yeah.
Right, that the
Yeah.
villainous. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get bits and pieces of recent action films. You get some gangster shit from like the 90s and 2000s. But in this, but at least with this film here, it felt fresh. It didn't feel heavy. It didn't feel like it was a bunch of tropes strung together over the
Right.
course of like what 2 hours. You know what I mean? But still, like visually, acting wise, it was just dynamic. It was just a lot of fun from start to end. So yeah, I would say if you have some time to kill and you just want to enjoy yourself just watching this bloody expletive leading action film, yeah, watch Bullet Train, man. So Ricardo, final thoughts and rating.
Yeah, I really wish it did more with the premise. I'm when you told me it's a book, that kind of weird and shocking because I was expecting a smarter script and something along those lines. But yeah, rating, I don't know, 5, closer to 6 because the style is there. Like it really, I'll admit I really enjoyed the final action sequence. It's a solid business in my opinion. But
Sorry to cut you there, right?
No
Now,
problem.
there are a few moments I forgot to mention too, where you have like these moments where like, oh gosh, like understand the type of movie it is, but why? There's one involving a bottle of water. Like the context of it, I understand why it's there, but you could have easily taken out that scene. You could have easily taken out that.
Right.
So yeah, there's a few moments where it kind of veers into self-indulgence, but still it kind of
But
keeps
as I
itself
said,
focused,
as I said, if it made itself a little leaner, I'd have probably enjoy it now. So you mentioned why Brad Pitt is there is because his only purpose is to be thing now, which I agree with.
It's a selling
Like,
movie. Yeah, that's
it's a
why.
selling
That's
movie.
why. Yeah, that's why he's a goofball. So you had to laugh at him because it's Brad Pitt. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, rating, closer to a 5, but closer to a 6 to be honest. Like I didn't hate this. I was just underwhelmed by it. I was expecting something more interesting and something with it, but it's just like they just do this thing.
So as you can see, guys, this is gonna be divisive, right? Like some people, if you just want a mindless action movie, although to be honest, it's not too mindless. It's not too mindless.
You mentioned a couple of beers. Yeah, I went into this just straight face, and I'm sure if I had to drink a couple of beers going in, I would have enjoyed it more. To be fair, like
I went to straight face to what I enjoyed,
Right.
but yeah, I would have enjoyed more if I had a couple beers in it, to be honest.
right, exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be divisive, right? If this is not your kind of thing, then yeah, this wouldn't do anything for you. But yeah, if you just want a fun action film, yeah, definitely check out Bullet Train, man.
Right.